There we go. Hey Tim, how you doing? All the way from Thailand. Wow, 7 a.m. there. It's an early one. Glad to have you here, though. I'm glad you can make it. All right, so I see we should get started. Let's get going. All right, so guys, welcome to the webinar. Well, I'll be going over how to find products to sell on Amazon. My name is Josh Shogan. I'm sure a lot of you guys know who I am. I run the website passionintopaychecks.com. I'm not going to spend too much time on the introductions because I'm sure a lot of you guys know who I am since you've signed up for the webinar either on my website, email list, or Facebook. So I'm sure you're pretty familiar with me, so I won't spend too much time on that, and I'd rather spend time on getting right into it. So first thing I want to say is welcome. And I want to say thank you guys for attending. I really appreciate all you guys that are here and all you guys that registered to sign up to make it here. I just want to say thank you, a big thank you to everyone that's here. So like I said, today we will be covering how to find products to sell on Amazon. This is probably one of the most important aspects of being successful on Amazon is making sure you find a good product to sell. And it's probably the biggest roadblock that people come to when they get started to sell on Amazon. This is something that people struggle with the most, and that's why I want to try to help you guys the best I can. Okay, so make sure everything's good. All right, so let's get going. What I'll be covering in today's webinar is I have a couple slides that I have set up for the actual webinar itself, but after that, I will go kind of freestyle and answer questions that you guys want or topics that you guys want. But what I'll be covering in the PowerPoint is that the 5 most important aspects of choosing a good product to sell and why, the best ways to brainstorm product ideas, how to improve your product over the rest of the competition, and at the very end, I'll be showing you guys live as I go through the whole process of actually finding a product, checking out the competition of it, the demand, all the stuff that you should be doing. I'll be doing live that you guys can see on my screen how I go through the process of actually coming up with ideas and checking it and using Amazon to find it and all that good stuff. And throughout the whole webinar, I'll be answering questions that any of you guys have and try to help you guys as much as possible. So before we get actually into the training of the webinar, I want this to be a very interactive webinar between you and I. Ask as many questions as you guys have. I don't want you guys to walk away from this webinar having any questions unanswered. So that's the main point with this whole webinar is try to help as many people and point as many people in the right direction as possible. I also want this to be a laid-back webinar without any sort of sales pitches at the end. I'm not going to throw any products or courses or anything like that down your throat at the end. This is not that type of webinar. This is a pure training webinar with no pitches whatsoever, so don't worry about that. Also, this is my very first webinar, so be easy on me. I don't know how everything works exactly. I'm still kind of new to this, so be easy on me if it's not the best. I'm working on it, and I'll try to make it good for you guys. And another thing before we get started, I just want to say that there is no strict structure to this webinar, and that I have some slides that I'll be using as talking points, but I will not actually be stuck to an exact strict structure, and I can venture off into different topics as you guys wish, or different topics that you guys want me to cover. So there's that. And I just want to get that stuff out of the way before we actually get started. I want to see if there's any questions. All right, so let's get going. Let's get actually started right into the training. So first thing I want to cover is talk about the 5 things that every single product that you sell on Amazon is going to need. The first thing is that it can be sold, the product itself can be sold between $20 to $50. That's the sweet price range. That's the sweet range that you want the product that you are selling to be in. Number 2, you want it to be small and lightweight for various reasons that I'll cover in a second. Number 3, there needs to be proven demand for the actual product in the marketplace. Number 4, the competition that you're going up against can be tough, but you need to know that you can at least beat some of the people on the first page of Amazon for it. That's the most important thing. You don't want to go up against something that you're not going to be able to beat and never make any sales for. So you have to make sure that there's beatable competition for your product. And number 5, and probably the most important, is there has to be good profit margins on the product that you're selling. There's no point selling a product that loses you money or makes you 50 cents every sale. You have to make sure that the profit margins are good for each and every sale that you have. So those are the 5 main things, and I'm going to break down each one of these things on the in the upcoming slides and go a little more into detail about each one. But before I do that, I just want to say that these 5 things right here are probably make up 80 to 90% of what makes a product successful. There are other things that can influence if a product can be successful or not, but I would say these 5 things right here make up what 80 to 90% of what will make your product successful. So if you can get these things down into your product, if your product can have these 5 things, you have a very high chance of making it successful. So I just want you to understand that before we move on. Okay, so why these 5 things are important? Like I said, if your product meets all these requirements, there is no reason why it won't be successful. I mean, it won't be successful in terms of a good product. I mean, there could be other reasons why it won't be successful, such as the supplier and shipping costs and stuff like that. But we're not worrying about that right now. We're worrying about the actual product itself. So if you meet these requirements, you will have a good product. There is a lot of stuff that you have to do to sell on Amazon, and it's up to you to put in the work and make it successful. But if you follow these requirements, it'll make your life a lot easier and make it the path that you take a lot easier to be successful on Amazon. And guys, it's not rocket science. Don't overthink it. And that's what a lot of people do. I get a lot of emails, a lot of questions, and the questions that people are asking me are really small stuff that doesn't really affect the bottom line of your Amazon business. Don't sweat the small stuff. Think about the main stuff. Like I said, guys, those 5 things make up 80-90% of what makes the product successful. So don't worry about all the other stuff. If you, for example, don't worry about getting a logo right off the bat. Don't worry about setting up a beautiful website right off the bat. Don't worry about that small stuff. Worry about the main stuff, and you'll be good to go. So before we get down in here, let's see if there's any questions. Will these slides be available at the end at some point, maybe via email? Yes, guys, I'm recording this as we speak, so this will, for one, will be made into a video that you guys can watch later. Also, I can for sure save these slides and send it out to you guys for those that you wanted. So yes, these slides will be available either in a PowerPoint form or a video. So no worries about that. Okay, so let's break down each one of these requirements and get a little more detail into each one and explain it a little bit more. So number 1, the product can sell between $20 and $50. This is the sweet spot that allows for good profit margins, but still a lower upfront investment for the products. So what I mean by this is that this price range allows for there still to be a good profit margin for each unit that you sell, but it's low enough that the upfront investment to actually start selling the item is low enough that you can still buy enough units to get going. So if you can see a couple of calculations that I have right here. I just give you a quick example. So for example, if you are selling if you're buying, 1,000 units at $2 each, the manufacturing cost is going to come up to $2,000, and the $2 manufacturing cost is around the average cost that it's going to cost for a lot of the products in the $20 to $50 price range. So a $2,000 upfront investment just for the product itself is not too bad. But if you were going to I don't know why I keep saying sell instead of buy. If you buy 1,000 units at $10 for the manufacturing cost per unit, it's going to cost you $10,000 just to buy the product itself. That's it. And $10,000, that's a lot of money to invest up front in a business that you don't know if it will be successful or not. So that's why it's important to find a lower priced item that will allow you to buy the inventory at a low upfront cost, so a lot of people can get into it. So that's very important. To continue on that point, this price range means a couple of things for the buyer and for you as well. So first off, this price range is in the range of the impulse buys without outside research needed. So what that kind of means is that if the $20 to $50 range is in the range where people will come on Amazon, see a product, they say, oh, that looks like a good product. I actually needed that product. I was looking for one of these the other day. They say, okay, it's only 35 bucks. That's not too much. That's not going to hurt the wallet too much where they have to go out, search on Google to do some research on it. They won't have to go ask their neighbor down the road how it is. They won't have to go do research like that. what they'll have to do is just scroll down on the listing, see what Amazon reviews look like, and they say, okay, this looks like it has good reviews. It's only 35 bucks. I'm going to buy it. And that's an impulse buy. And that's why this price range is really cool, is because it allows for that kind of buying. Okay, hold on one second, guys. Make sure everything's running smoothly. Okay. All right, we're looking good. All right, so, and number two, the product itself is usually fairly simple in this price range. So, for example, if you're, obviously you wouldn't sell something, but if you're selling something like an Xbox, you're going to sell that for like $300, $400 because it costs a lot of money to make it. But the reason why it costs so much to make it is because there's so many complex and intricate technological electronic devices inside the Xbox that it's so complex. But if we're sticking to something very simple, something very straightforward that anyone can understand how to use it, and it's very easy to make. And when it's easy to make, that means it's pretty cheap to make as well, which is a bonus for us. That's why we want to stick with things such as, like, I'm just looking around, like a mouse pad. A mouse pad is very simple, it'll be cheap to make, and it's just a very straightforward item, and that's why we like to stay within the $20 to $50 price range, because it allows for a lot of items such as those. And probably the most important thing with this price range is that it allows for good profit margins more often than not. It allows for good profit margins with a low upfront investment, which is exactly what we're looking for. Number two, the product needs to be small and lightweight. This is very important, and I would say the max is probably around 4 pounds for your product. Preferably, you would want your product to be under 2 pounds. And if you can get it at, say, for example, you can get your product for half a pound, that's awesome. The lighter, the better. The lighter it is and the smaller it is, the cheaper it will be to ship, and the better your profit margins will be at the end. So, like I said, the max is probably 4 pounds, and even that's probably a little bit too heavy. So I would try to stay under 2 pounds if you can. The actual size of the product is important as well. So when I say the actual size, I'm talking about the length, width, height, the actual dimensions of the product. That's very important too, because even if you had a product that was only a pound, but it was 13 feet long, that's still going to be a pain in the butt to ship across from China to the US, and it's going to cost a lot to ship that. And that's why we want to stay away from those big items, because it has outrageous shipping costs from China to here. So we want small, precise little items that we can sell that will allow for us to ship cheaply and will allow us to have good profit margins. A good reference that I heard, I don't know where I heard or read this from, I think it was from a website that I was reading. A good reference that they said is that if you can fit your product within a shoebox, then it's small enough. And I really like that idea because it allows for a quick check. When you're looking through products on Amazon on what to buy, you can just think, will this fit into a shoebox? Yes. Okay, so it's small enough at least. If it doesn't fit in there, you're like, all right, I'm just going to skip on that for now because it's more than likely too big. So I like that shoebox reference. I really do. All right, let me take a drink really quick before we keep going. See if there's any questions. Dave, all right, Dave, I'm reading your question right now. Dave, I'm sorry, I don't think I can have someone join right now because I can't send a link out right now. I'm kind of busy in the webinar. I'm sorry about that for your friend, but tell him that there will be a recording that that he'll be able to watch, so no worries about that. Tim, I do not have a dimensions guideline exactly for the product, but I mean, I could probably come up with one for you guys, but I actually don't have one at the moment, so sorry about that. But let's continue on. And again, guys, if you have any questions, just post it, and I will definitely answer them as we go on. So to continue on the small and lightweight topic, we want to say why is a small and lightweight product important to have? So first of all, the smaller and lighter the product is, like I said, the cheaper it will be to ship. This will greatly increase your profit margins. And you guys, and for those that have actually went out and got shipping quotes or freight forwarding quotes from a freight forwarder or a person that airship or anything like that, you know that the shipping cost from China to the US is insane. They charge so much money, and if you can make your product lighter and smaller, the better off you'll be, and the cheaper it'll be to ship it, and that will save you a ton of money in the long run. So that's very important. And also, if your product's small enough and light enough, this will allow you to ship your products by air instead of sea. And this has a couple of bonuses. Shipping by air has a couple of pros over sea. One is that it gets there way quicker. By sea, it takes around 30 days on average to go from China to Amazon's warehouse, which is a long time, which is a long lead time, especially if you're waiting on product to arrive. By air, it will take no longer than a week, which is awesome, especially if you run out of product and you need to get product into Amazon's warehouse quickly. Shipping by air is awesome for that, and it's quicker. It's also less people touch it, which means that there's less chance of it getting damaged, which is another good thing. Okay, so we'll carry on. Should I skip one? All right, no. All right, number 3, there needs to be proven demand for the product itself. So you need to find a product with a high enough demand that the reward will be worth the effort. So what I mean by this is that there's no point getting to number 1 on Amazon if you're only going to sell 15 units a month. So you need to make sure that there's people out there looking for your product and willing to buy your product before you go out and buy 1,000 units or 500 units of your product. So, because I mean, if you're selling 15 units a month, you're not making very much money. I mean, you're not making that's not worth your time or effort or anything like that. That's just a pure waste of time. That's why you want to make sure you're putting your time and effort into a product that will be worth all of the effort. And to determine that demand, there's a couple things that you can do. And I like to use all of these things in conjunction with each other to get a better picture of the demand in the marketplace. So the first thing I like to do is to check the Amazon's bestseller ranking. So when I say 5,000 BSR, I'm talking about Amazon's bestseller ranking. So I like to see multiple products similar to the product that you're selling have under a 5,000 BSR in their main category. So for example, if I was selling a miter saw, obviously I'd never sell a miter saw. I'm just giving an example. If I was selling a miter saw, I would go into the tools and I'd go into the power saws main category. Then I would check in the power saws main category. I'd say, okay, there's 4 different miter saws, all with one with a 500 BSR, one with 1,000 BSR, and 2 with 2,000 BSR. I'd say, okay, that shows me that there's multiple products that are similar to mine that are all have high demand within Amazon. That's very important, and it shows that not just one product is bringing in all the sales, that there's multiple products like mine that are all bringing in a good amount of sales each month, and that's very important. Another thing you can use is Merchant Words. Merchant Words is a website that calculates the number of searches that Amazon gets for a specific product each month. And so what you can do is you can take the top 3 keywords for your product, head on over to Merchant Words, and gather the top 3 keywords, and if they have over 100,000 monthly searches combined, all 3 of them combined, then you know that's a good metric to use to know that, okay, your product is getting searched for quite a bit on Amazon, and that there's more than likely a lot of buyers ready to buy your product. The other thing I like to use, and I'm just warning you guys right now, is that Jungle Scout, this is a paid option. You do not need Jungle Scout. You do not have to have this to sell on Amazon. You don't need this to find a product to sell on Amazon, but personally, I use it. I would recommend it. It makes your life a lot easier. And basically what Jungle Scout is it's a Google Chrome extension that tells you a lot of cool stuff, but the main reason why I use it is because it shows you the estimated sales per month that a specific product on Amazon makes. This shows you right away, okay, I know a product very similar to mine is selling 500 units a month. That tells me, okay, there's a good enough demand in the market for it. And so what I like to do is that I like to see similar products are selling at least 300 units per month or 10 a day, and that's the bare minimum. I like to have more than that, but 300 units a month, 300 units sold each month is a pretty good minimum that you guys can use as a guideline. So I like to use that, and really Jungle Scout is the only tool that will allow you to see this kind of data, and it's also the most accurate. So that's why I kind of recommend Jungle Scout, and I was even able to get a discount for you guys from Greg from Greg Mercer over at Jungle Scout. He was nice enough to give us a $15 off the original sale price for the people on this webinar. So if you guys are interested in that, you can use this link right here. Just go to junglescout.com/Josh, and you can get the Jungle Scout for $15 off. So, and no, I'm not pushing this item to you guys at all. I'm not trying to make money from that at all. I just think it's a good tool, and I got a discount for you guys, so I was just letting you guys all know. And I'm not trying to push this down your throat or anything like that. So don't think that. I just think that this tool will make your life a lot easier, and I got a cool discount for you guys. So I just wanted to let you all know about that. So I use Jungle Scout and those 3 things to help me determine demand. And with the demand, if there's demand, that usually means there's tough competition, but not always. So that's why we need to figure out, and the 4th requirement is that there's beatable competition. But before we go on to that, I'm going to check the questions. Okay. Let's see. From Felix, hey Josh, you comment BSR, that's US specific, right? Would you same apply for, say, Canada or the UK? Felix, that's a good question. I would say the 5,000 BSR applies to the US only. The Canada and UK Amazon has less buyers and less demand, which would mean that you more likely need a lower BSR. So I don't know exactly how to guide you on that. I would probably say under 2,000 for those, but I wouldn't take my word for that. That's what my guess would be. But when I'm talking about the bestseller rating from Amazon, I'm talking about for the US. So sorry for the confusion on that, Felix. Tris, you say, hi Josh, thanks for doing this webinar. I already started working on products already. I found that brand name Mousepad is like 27 in its main category. Then a no-name brand falls in the 5,000, I'm assuming 5,000 BSR, and below the sweet spot. Is that okay to invest in getting a similar product to the market? What's the magic number of products you need to see in the 5,000 or less best-selling range that makes you comfortable? So good question, Tris. I would like to see at least 2 to 3 products that are similar to the one that you're going to be selling have under a 5,000 BSR rating in Amazon. So to answer your question, at least 2 or 3 items would be the best way to go. Tim, yes, that is an affiliate link. So if you click on that, you will be supporting me and Greg, the owner of Jungle Scout. So I appreciate that. Joseph, Joseph asks, will you be emailing us the recording of this webinar? Yes, Joseph, I will be emailing you all the video of this webinar tomorrow once I get up onto YouTube. So no worries about that. And you guys will have a recording very soon. Glad I could help, Felix. Glad you answered that. And Tris, you're welcome. So awesome. Thanks you guys for asking questions. And I will answer some more questions in just a little bit. Okay, so number 4, we're going to go on to talking about the competition and that we have to make sure that we can beat the competition. So we determine the level of competition from looking at the first page of Amazon when searching for a product. So for example, if I wanted to sell silicone baking mats, what I would do is go to Amazon.com, search silicone baking mats, and inspect the first page of listings that come up when you search for silicone baking mats. That's the competition that we have to beat out. The competition that comes up, those are the people that we're gonna have to beat out and outrank and get ahead of, and so we can outsell them on Amazon. And obviously, guys, the goal is to rank #1 in Amazon. So to continue on, high demand usually means high competition, but high competition isn't a bad thing, because when there's high competition, that means that there's people. If there's high competition in a market, that means the market has money in it. That means there's people spending a lot of money in that market, and people are spending a lot of money to be in front of those people that are looking for that product. So high competition isn't always a bad thing, but it's a bad thing when we can't beat out the competition on the first page. So we need to make sure we can actually beat out some of the people on the first page before we go ordering a product and trying to sell it. There's no point wasting our time. Sourcing a product, getting it to Amazon, finding a product itself, and all the stuff that it takes to getting a product to Amazon and to sell, to only be on the 55th page of Amazon for our product. I mean, that's just a waste of time, and no one wants to do that. So that's why it's important to make sure you do proper research on the competition and make sure that you can at least beat out 1, 2, or 3 people on the first page of Amazon for your product. So let me take a quick drink really quick. Okay, so how do we determine the competition? The main thing how we determine the level of competition is that we look at the number of views each listing has um, for our product. So let's just keep using the silicone baking mat example. So if I went to Amazon, typed in silicone baking mat, and I saw the full page, and each listing had 500 reviews each, 500 5-star reviews. I'm never going to beat them. They all have a ton of 5-star high rating reviews, and it's going to take a long time for me to match those reviews. So what we like to see is that have 2 or 3 listings on the first page of Amazon when searching for your product have below 50 reviews. If there's 2 or 3 products that have 2 or 3 similar products that have below 50 reviews, you more than likely will be able to beat out those people fairly easy. So that's kind of the guideline that I like to use. I also like to look at the type of brands selling these products. You don't want to sell shoes, for example, against Nike and Adidas and Puma and all those people, all those companies, because they will outsell you. They will outmarket you. They will outspend you. They have deep pockets. You will not outrank them on Amazon. So there's no point even trying. You're better off going after markets and niches that are not dominated by a brand name. You want to go after markets and niches that are dominated by products themselves and not by the brand name. You don't want people buying products because of the brand name. That's when you lose it. That's when other brands have the advantage over you. That's why it's important to go into and to sell a product where there's no brands that dominate that specific market. So that's something very important to look at. The last thing I want to touch on in determining competition is to look at the actual listings themselves. So if I'm looking at a silicone baking mat listing and it has a very descriptive title, a bunch of high quality images, there's a video review on it, all the bullet points are filled out, the description is well put together, I know, okay, this listing's optimized. The person that put this listing together put in the time, put in the effort, made this listing optimized, and it looks really good. But let's say on the other hand, I see a silicone baking mat listing, and the title has like 4 words in it. There's one low quality image. There's no description. There's no bullet points. I mean, and you can just tell this looks like a crappy listing. That's what we like to see. That's what we want to see, because we can optimize our listing and then outrank those people just by having a better listing and having a more optimized listing. So if there's a bunch of similar products to yours that have crappy listings with no images and no descriptions and no bullet points on the actual listings themselves, you know that you more likely will be able to outrank them and beat them in Amazon's on Amazon's first page. The last thing I want to touch on is good margins, and this is probably the most important part of any product that you sell on Amazon, is to make sure that it has good margins. Without good margins, there's no point in even selling a product. There's no point selling a product that makes you 10 cents each time you sell it, because you're going to have to sell a million of them to even make a decent amount of money, and that's not even possible. So that's why making sure that you have good margin is crucial to know before you carry on and actually order your first product. So just to break it down, the 3 main expenses when it comes to selling on Amazon is the manufacturing cost, which are the costs that it takes to actually make the product itself from your supplier. Number 2, the shipping cost. This is to get your product from your supplier's warehouse to Amazon's warehouse, and this can be actually quite high. And number 3, Amazon's FBA fees, and these fees are the fees that Amazon takes from your product after you sell an item. So I did a post on this that tells you guys how to calculate these Amazon FBA fees, and I'm not really going to go into depth into that right now, but basically just know that they'll take a good chunk of the money that you make from selling your product, but you also have to remember they're doing a lot for you. I mean, they're storing your product, they're handling all the customers, they're actually selling it, and they're putting your product in front of millions and millions of buyers each month. So you got to keep that in mind and understand that fees suck, but um, Amazon gets their money's worth, and they help you out a ton. So you got to pay them for what they're doing for you. So how can we check margins for a product? And you want to make sure you check margins for a product before you actually order the product from your supplier. So what you want to do to get the manufacturing cost, you're gonna have to ask your supplier, and you can usually ask your supplier in the first couple of emails what the manufacturing cost will be. So right off the bat, boom, you know how much the manufacturing cost will be from your supplier. For the shipping costs, if you're shipping by sea, you can just go to a freight forwarder's website, input all the information about your shipment, and they'll give you a quote within a couple of days, and it's usually fairly accurate. That's what I did, and all the quotes that I got were around the same price, so I know that okay, this is the going rate for what it's going to cost for me to ship my type of shipment. And then you can use Amazon's FBA fee calculator to determine fees before you actually order your product. So you want to make sure you know all these things and do each one of these things before you order your product. And like I said, all these things can be done fairly easy and quickly. You just got to know how to do them. So before we move on, I'm going to take a quick drink, and I want you guys to ask me any question that you guys have so far. I just covered the 5 main things that each product needs to be successful on Amazon. Those are the 5 main things. Obviously, there's other things that can make a product successful, but those 5 things are the main things. Is there any part that you want me to go more in depth about or explain further? Or if you guys have any questions, please ask me, and I'll gladly answer anything that you guys have. So I'm going to take a quick drink and wait a couple seconds while you guys type in any questions that you guys have before we move on. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions coming in. So if you guys don't have any questions, oh, there we go. Let's see. Peter says, if Amazon is selling a product, does that rule the item out? All right, here comes all the questions. All right, I'll try to answer as many as I can, guys. All right, so Peter says, if Amazon is selling a product, does that rule the item out? And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It kind of depends on what the item is. If it's an item that Amazon dominates, then yes, you want to stay away from it. But if it's an item that they don't dominate, they're not. I mean, it kind of depends on the situation. So I can't really answer that, but it's kind of 50-50. If Amazon dominates the product, then kind of stay away from it, and that's kind of the best I can answer that. So that's the best I can do for you, Peter. Sorry about I can't answer more in depth about that. What are my thoughts on patents? Um, Most of the products that you're going to want to sell, there isn't much to patent on it. So I mean, if there's a patent on a product, you could still probably sell it if you change or vary the item a little bit. You could still sell it, but most of the items that we sell are very simple and straightforward, and that there's nothing really to patent. So most of the items that I look at aren't even in question to be in patent. But I mean, more than likely, I'd probably stay away from products that are patent just because I don't want to get any legal trouble or anything like that. So that's my answer to that. Yuri asks, if we follow your guidelines, then is there any need to check shipping and FBA fees? Yes, I mean, if you follow my guidelines, you will more than likely get low cost on shipping, and the FBA fees will be good. But you definitely want to know for a fact. You want to know exactly. Okay, shipping is going to cost me $2,200, and FBA fees are going to take around $8.30 each unit. So you want to know the exact cost that it's going to cost you. You don't want to just say, okay, well, I have the guidelines, it should work. You want to make sure for a fact that you have checked them out for yourself and that it's good to go. So good question. And if you follow my guidelines, it'll get you in the good ballpark for a good product, but you have to do the little extra research on your own to make sure that it works, that your item is good for yourself. Tim says, what margin percentage should you focus on? So I'm assuming you're saying when you sell a product, what should your profit margin be? I would say anything above 30% is good, or is 30% is kind of like the minimum bar you should go. In the 40 to 50% margin range is very good, and that's probably what you should aim for. And if you can get into that profit margin, you'll be good to go. So in between, I'd say at least 30% profit margin is probably the minimum you want to go, Tim. Tris asks, is there any wisdom to starting with the Amazon individual account and then moving to an account, pros and cons? Let's see. I don't know if there's any pros or cons. I don't really think it matters. If you start with the individual account and then move to a company account, I don't think there's really anything bad that could happen to you. I think that's just I'm not too sure about that, Tris. When I opened my account, I did it under LLC, so I went straight to a company account. But I really don't think there's too much difference between the individual account and company account as far as I'm concerned. There might be, but I'm not too 100% sure. But if you decide to start with the individual account and then go to a company account, I don't think you have too much to worry about, and that it should be good to go. Um, Tim asks if there's one product that is a brand named in that niche, would it still be okay to market that product? Um, so if you're saying, so if there's one item that has a brand name in the niche, that's kind of questionable. I mean, if they completely dominate the niche, I'd probably stay away. But if that brand name is kind of like in the top five and it's not really dominating the niche, I'd say you could still go after it. So yeah, I think you could still probably go after it. But if it's dominated by, if the whole, if all the products are dominated by big brand names, I would definitely stay away from it. Okay, Tris. Oh, I'm seeing your question right now. So in other words, start out free before you pay for an account. Um, I'm not too sure on that. I don't really know. Start out before you. When you mean, I don't. Can you? I don't think you can. Oh, I know exactly what you mean. Okay, so I'm not too sure about that. I went straight to a paid account because I just assumed I'd be selling over like the limit that they give you. I think they give you a limit of like 50 items per month until you have to upgrade to the paid account. So I'm not too sure about that. I'm sure it's a seamless upgrade from the free to pay an account. So if you want to start at free, I'm sure it would work out just fine. Scott asks, how much more powerful is a verified review versus a non-verified? If you have a 10 verified and 20 non-verified, will your sales stay just as strong, assuming there are 4 or 5-star reviews? And Scott, I cannot answer that from my experience because I've not sold yet on Amazon, and I really haven't done too much research on that actually. But I do know for a fact verified reviews are much stronger, and I think that even if you had 20 non-verified reviews, it still would not be the same as 10 verified reviews. Actually, I'm trying to think. I think I read somewhere that for every 10 unverified reviews, or not, for every 10 non-verified reviews, it's equal to 1 verified review. So I think that's kind of the ratio that it goes. And I don't know where I read that or where I'm recalling that from, but for some reason that's where I think um, that's where that ratio comes from. Um, but obviously, any review that you get verified or non-verified, it will still help you rank in Amazon. So what are my thoughts on Amazon's brand registry? Um, I think it's a good idea only because it'll save you money on the labels that you put on it. You can send it in without any labels, and they will handle it all for you. So that's kind of the best thing about Amazon's brand registry. And I'm actually in the process of um, signing up for the Amazon's brand registry for my item right now that I'm selling on Amazon. Ashley asks, can you write a blog post on how you developed your LLC for this entity? Actually, I can, but I actually didn't develop this LLC for selling on Amazon. I had a previous business, a previous LLC created for another business I was in, and I just used that as the LLC for my Amazon business. Okay, Tris, I'm glad I was able to answer your questions. Billy asked, do you have your manufacturer put on a UPC or an FNSQ code on your products? Which one and why? I have my manufacturer put on an FNSQ code for my products because they do it for free, and I don't want to pay Amazon 20 cents to do it for me. I actually did a recent post on UPC and FNSQ codes, so I'm not going to go too in depth into that right now. But yes, I do put on my FNSQ code because I don't want Amazon to charge me 20 cents to put it on for themselves. Amazon has just changed the way they weight reviews. That verified purchase reviews are so much more important. Okay, thanks. Thanks, I appreciate that. So yeah, that would make sense. Max asks, do you plan on using any review service like ilovetoreview.com or similar? And yes, Max, I do plan on using not review services, but more like promotional methods where I pay for a service to send out my product with a coupon to thousands of people, and they'll be able to buy it at a discount as long as they leave a review. So I'll be doing some more posts and stuff to covering that later on. A little bit down the road, probably in the next couple of weeks. But just know I don't know about review services, but I'll definitely be using promotional methods to do to start to like jumpstart my listing and to get it ranking on Amazon. Okay, so I think that's all the questions right now, and let's get. All right, so for all the questions that are coming in right now, I'll answer them in a little bit later, but for now, let's continue on with the PowerPoint. Okay, so let's continue on. So next part of this PowerPoint, I'm going to talk about how to brainstorm different product ideas. So um, this is something that a lot of people struggle with and get discouraged by when they can't find any products. And let me tell you, it takes time to find good products more than likely. Um, when you're trying to find a product, it really just comes down to the amount of work that you're willing to put into finding a product. So if you're willing to put in 10 hours researching and just going through all the Amazon listings and looking at all the different products, and I guarantee you that you will come across some products that are good candidates to start selling on Amazon. But if you look for 30 minutes and you're like, oh, can't find anything, I'm discouraged, like this isn't working, Amazon's stupid. Yeah, it's not going to work for you because it takes effort, it takes time, and it takes just overall patience to find a product. But you will find one if you put in the time, trust me. Some of the different ways to actually brainstorm ideas is that you can use Amazon's bestseller list, eBay, Alibaba, Google Keyword Planner, and just think about your everyday life and the kind of products that you would want or products that you wish you had and stuff like that. Um, the best way to brainstorm ideas, in my opinion, is to go through Amazon's bestseller list for all the different categories and look at all the different products that they show you. That's how I found my product, and that's how I would suggest you guys do it as well. Um, there's some reasons why I like using Amazon to come up with product ideas. One, it is a very quick and easy way to view thousands of different products ideas in one place. There's no other place on the internet that allow you to do something like this. To look through all the different types of categories, to go from page after page after page of different products full of ideas. Each product is a good idea. You just have to look at it and be like, all right, no, that's not going to work. That looks too big. All right, no, that product doesn't work because it's dominated by a brand. Oh, that product doesn't work because it's being sold for only $2. I mean, you can do quick checks like that to be like, to narrow down, all right, that product could be good. I mean, it has a good price point. It looks like there's not really any competition. There looks like there's good demand. This could be good. I'm going to do some further research on it. And you can find products like that, write it down, and you can do your research on it later. You can write down a list of 10, 15 different products, and then when you're done researching, go and do further research on the items that you already have on your list. So that's why I like Amazon, because you can quickly check important stuff about the product right there as you're looking. You can check the bestseller rankings, the number of reviews, the brand selling it, and etc. There's tons of different stuff you can find out just by looking at the product itself on Amazon. So that's why I like to use Amazon, and that's why I would suggest it for you guys as well. So like I mentioned, this way does take time and it does take effort, and be prepared to put in the work, but it will pay off because you'll be able to find a good product that will make you a lot of money if you do it correctly, and that will have good profit margins, and it will fit all the requirements that you need. It might be boring at some point, it'll probably be discouraging, but power through that and just keep going, because the perfect product is just around the corner. And I just can't stress it enough that it just takes time and effort to find a product. I mean, it's not going to fall right in your lap. It's just not going to happen. You got to go out there, do some research, find a product, and start selling it. I mean, it just takes time and effort. I mean, I just can't stress that enough. So I hope you guys kind of understand that point I'm trying to make. So I want to stop again because I went through that section a lot quicker than the previous section, but I just want to stop and ask you guys if you have any questions about how to brainstorm different ideas for products. Please feel free to ask any questions regarding coming up with product ideas or any other questions you may have, and we'll take another small little break, answer some questions, and then we'll continue on. And I didn't really go into depth on how to brainstorm ideas because, I mean, there really is no way to do it. I mean, it's just go to Amazon's bestseller list and scroll through it until you find some. I mean, there really isn't any good techniques for it. You just got to put in the time. So I'll see what kind of questions we have. All right, so we'll go back up. Jay Ling asked, how much % discount are you planning to offer? So I'm assuming she's asking how much % discount am I planning to offer when I do my promotional methods and offer coupons. So I'm probably going to sell my item for around $20 original sale price. So when I offer the discount, I'll probably offer it for around between $5 to $10 just to get the reviews coming in. So probably around at least 50 to 75% discount. You just mentioned you'll be doing a blog post about it, but are you going to touch on generating coupons for sales? Yes, I will be doing all that kind of stuff, covering all the types of promotional methods, advertising, how to get sales, and all that kind of stuff in the upcoming weeks as I do that myself. So the case study that I'm doing on my website is kind of at the same pace that I'm going at. So as I start to learn things and I do things, I'll report back to you and transfer everything that I learned into the blog post. So yes, I will be doing a touch on how to generate coupons for sales. So don't worry about that. Yuri asks, can you walk us through browsing the bestseller list? Yes, absolutely. I'll be doing that after I get to this PowerPoint. I'll be showing you guys live how I do it. Another source, Yuri also says, another source of inspiration is to go through your own purchase history. Yes, that is correct. Looking through your bills that you pay each month or the items that you buy each month and stuff like that is a great source to come up with ideas. Thank you, Yuri, for suggesting that. Trisk asks, is there any categories that are better off not even looking at? Yes, there is, and I will cover that in a second when I actually go over to Amazon and show you guys how to do that. But yes, there are some categories that you want to stay away from. Are you going to go through Amazon and actually show us what to click, etc., share your screen and do it? Yes, I am. I'm going to be doing that in the next 10 or 15 minutes. Once I get done with the PowerPoint, I'll be showing you live on my screen what I click on, how I do it, and how I go through Amazon in 1 second once I get through this PowerPoint. So don't worry about that, and it'll be coming up really soon. Kev asks, when listing a product under keywords, what's a good strategy to lay out your keywords and search terms? I don't really understand your question. Do you mean what's a good strategy to laying out your keywords like in your product description and stuff like that? Or are you talking about what keywords should you try to focus on? So try to give me a little more clarification. I'll try to answer your question, Kev. Peter says, do you think sites like Camel are a good way to validate your product ideas? It can be. I haven't really put too much effort or research into looking at Camel, but I've heard people doing it. I've read about people doing it and finding good success and like validating their ideas that way. So I wouldn't personally recommend it just because I haven't done it, but it could be a good way to validate your ideas. So that's a good idea. Scott asks, do you think buying a liability business insurance for sharper products like knives or sharp kitchen utensils is a good idea, or is just having an LLC enough? I think that's actually a good question. And I'm not a lawyer, so I'm obviously not a lawyer, so I can't answer that question. But I think that if you have an LLC and apply all the warning labels and all that kind of stuff, I think you should be good to go. But like I said, not a lawyer, so I wouldn't trust 100% what I'm saying on that point. So I think if you have an LLC and then put on some like warning labels and some stuff like that, I think you should be safe. All right. So Kev says in adding your product. Okay, so you don't want to spam your keywords in your product descriptions when you're doing it. You want them. I mean, just write it naturally. If they come up, then they come up. If not, if not. But I would say make sure that you mention at least your main keyword in your product description at least once or twice to make sure that Amazon knows that that's what you're selling. So that's kind of what I would say is just try to list or write your main keyword and your secondary main keyword 1 or 2 times within your product description. Jay Ling asks, when you sourced your product, did you put a custom logo on it or create a custom box? Yes, I actually did both. I created a custom logo and placed it on my actual product itself, and I created a custom packaging that had my brand name, my logo, and my website and some other stuff like that on the actual packaging. So yes, I did do that. Oh, Kev, so when adding a new product before uploading your product images. So you're saying, should you add keywords? So, okay, so in the keyword section before you upload your product images, you want to put keywords that you just want to put your main keyword. So what I would do is head on over to merchantwords.com, type in your main keyword, sort it by, actually, you know what? I'll show you guys how to do that really quick. just because I can show you guys a good example. So merchant words, show you guys how to do this really quick. Okay, so let's say we're selling silicone baking mats. Search it. So you search it, and then you come over here to the sort section, and then you sort from highest search volume, and then boom, these are your top keywords right here. So when you go actually into your Amazon listing, and like when it gives you the keywords that you want to rank for, you want to put all these keywords in here from the top one. Since it has 51,000 monthly searches, put this one in here, and put all these in here. Except for you probably don't want brand names, Fox Run silicone baking mat, but so you want to keep that out here. But you want to put silicone mats for baking, silicone baking mat full size, silicone baking mat set. All of these because they have the highest monthly search volume. So I would say go to merchant words, type in your main keyword, and then use those keywords as in your product listing. So hopefully that answers your questions, Kevin. And I hope I was able to answer that how you liked. So I think that answers all the questions for right now. And we'll continue on to finish up this couple slides we have left, and then we'll get into the actual finding the products on Amazon and all that good stuff. Okay, so first thing I want to talk about is how to improve your product over the competition. Many people overlook doing this for a couple reasons. One, they either think it's too hard, they don't know how to do it, or they don't think it is worth the effort. And trust me, it is worth at least looking into it as an option. And when I say improve your product over the competition, what I mean by that is that, for example, if you're selling silicone baking mats, and I was going to keep using silicone baking mats as an example just because I've used an example for a lot of different things on the case study and stuff like that. So say you're selling silicone baking mats and you do some research and you figure out that, okay, a lot of people are complaining about the silicone baking mats that are on the top of Amazon, that when you put it in the oven at 450 degrees, they start to warp a little bit. So what you can do is that you can contact your supplier and figure out a way to make a silicone baking mat so that when it heats up to 450 degrees, it won't warp. That will give you, so right away, that makes your product better than all the other products, all the other silicone baking mats on the market, just because your product alone won't warp at 450 degrees like the rest of the competition. So right there, that's a good selling point, and it gives you an edge over the rest of the competition. So I think it's very important to do that and to at least look into options for your product to give you an advantage such as that one. So even the smallest improvement can lead to huge gains and huge profits. Just because a slight improvement over the rest of the competition immediately makes your product the best one on the market. And that's crucial. Buyers want to buy the best products, plain and simple. I mean, think about it. If you're going to buy a lawnmower, you're obviously going to buy the lawnmower, obviously not taking into price in consideration. You're going to buy the lawnmower that's the best. I mean, it only makes sense. You're going to buy a product that is the best one on the market. So if you can improve your product just the slightest bit over the rest of the competition, it immediately makes your product better than everyone else, and it makes it the best product on the market. So, I mean, when I say small improvement, I mean, it could be as small as changing the color on your product. It could be changing the size on your product. It can be doing a lot of small things that doesn't take a lot of time or money from your supplier to do, and that can lead to huge gains down the road. Now I understand it's not always possible. Depending on your product, it may not be possible to actually improve upon it, or if you find somewhere how to improve upon it, and then that you ask your supplier and it ends up costing way too much to do, it's just way too much, then it would offset the gains that you would get from it. Obviously, it would make sense not to carry on and to keep to actually make this change in your product. But if it does make sense, if it's cheap to do and it's simple to do, and it can increase your products and it make your product better than all the other competitors, might as well do it. I mean, it only makes sense to make your product the best it can be. And guys, at least look into it before you place your first order. It's easy to check and it could pay off huge in the long run. So I mean, I would just suggest looking into it. And I've shown you guys how to do this in a blog post I did that I did where I showed you guys how to look at Amazon reviews and to see what what customers are complaining about, and how we can use those complaints and put those complaints and turn them into advantages that we can use. And I can show you guys how to do this if you guys want. So before we get into actually finding a product, if you guys want me to do this live right now, I can. If you're interested in seeing how to check if a product can be improved or not, I can do it live right now. I don't want to waste your time covering something no one wants to see, so I will only do it if you want me to. So let me know in the chat. Let me know if you guys would, if this is something that you guys would want to see. This is also the end of the getting to the end of the PowerPoint. So if you don't want to do this, what we can do is get straight into looking on Amazon and start looking for a product on Amazon and showing you guys how to do that on Amazon if you'd like. So let me know. We can do this and then look on Amazon, or just go straight to Amazon. So let me know, and I'll just do whatever you guys want, because that's the main point of this webinar, is to try to help you guys out as much as possible. Okay, so yes, please do it live. Do it now. That's the most valuable part of the webcast. We can read the rest on the blog. Okay. Yes, do both. Straight to Amazon. Straight to Amazon. Okay, guys. So I see a lot of people wanting to do it. Some people want to go straight to Amazon. So I mean, I'm gonna do both anyways. I mean, I'm gonna go to Amazon no matter what. So I might as well do it live right now for the people that want to see it. So I'm gonna do that really quick. It won't take a long time to do. Okay, so let's head on over to Amazon. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna use silicone baking mats as an example. Excuse me. Okay, so what we're gonna do is just click on one of these, and then so what you do is, okay, you search for your product that you're thinking about selling. You click on one of the listings, and you click on right here where it says customer reviews, and this brings you to here. We got to get to like the main. All right, here we go. This brings you to the main page for all the customer reviews, and right off the bat, you want to look at this thing right here. This is very important to look at, the most helpful critical review. So this means that someone gave it a low rated review, so in this case a 1 star, and it was the most helpful. That means that 158 of 164 people found this following review helpful. That means 158 people agree with what this person is saying about what's bad about this silicone baking mat. So if we read it, it says these were great for cookies, olive oil, and vegetables, and other items that don't stick too much. However, when I use it with a honey brown sugar recipe, the food stuck and it would not rinse clean. This only got worse with other sticky glazes. The mat stained and the orange borders started to peel. I'll add some pics. I'm tossing them. I'm getting the big name brand instead. Okay, so that's perfect. That's actually exactly right there. We could say, okay, let's try to figure out how to make a silicone baking mat that, for one, doesn't get food stuck and like caked onto it, and that won't have sticky stuff stick to the actual layer itself. So right off the bat, we can say, go to our supplier, and we could say, is there any way that you can make a silicone baking mat that won't get, for one, won't get stained, we'll be able to rinse clean, and it won't get food stuck to it no matter what, and can be able to cook sticky stuff without it getting stuck on it. And they could say yes, they could say no, and the best thing to do about this is to talk to about 3 to 4 different suppliers, see if they can do it. If they can, have them send you a sample. Okay, so you get 4 different suppliers to make you the best silicone baking mat. They send you 4 samples to you, and you can test it yourself. You can be like, all right, these 3 didn't work, but this one didn't get stained. It didn't stick. The brown sugar was able to come off it after you cooked it, and it was perfect. It did everything that it was supposed to do. I'm gonna go buy 1,000 units of this because it was exactly what I wanted. And that's how you do it. And then once you have that, you can go on to Amazon, post on, and start selling your silicone baking mats, and you can say non-stick. You can cook brown sugar, sticky glazes, it won't stick on your thing, the mats won't stain, you will always be able to rinse it clean, and that's the advantage that you will have over the rest of the competition, and something that you can use, and you can position yourself as the best silicone baking mat on Amazon just from changing that small little thing. Now this is changing something like this is a little more takes a little more time and effort than changing something like the color or the size of something, just because I mean, if you want to change the size, you say, okay, I want it 2 inches longer, it's 2 inches longer, okay, they did it. But if this, you kind of have to test it yourself, so there's a little more time and effort put into it. But I think that if you were able to find a silicone baking mat that could do this, what this person's complaining about right here, you could have a winner and have a very good selling silicone baking mat because it's the best one on the market. So that's kind of what I'm talking about when I'm saying um, trying to improve upon a product. So that's what I'm talking about with that. And so I kind of hope you guys understand how I go about that process and how I try to improve upon a product. And I didn't want to spend a bunch of time on that because there's some people that said they want to go straight to Amazon, and some people say that they want to see this. So I didn't want to spend a bunch of time on it, but I did want to. Uh, just touch on it a little bit. So okay, so now this is the end of it. You guys watch me find a product live. I'm now going to go through the whole process of finding a product and show you all how I do it. I'll attempt to find a good product, answer any questions you have along the way. So let's get right into it. Let's see how long we've been going, about an hour. Okay, so I don't want this webinar running too long, so I'm gonna say probably another half an hour at the max that I will be on here because I don't want this to be too long for you guys. But if it runs over answering questions and whatnot, I don't have a problem with that. Okay, so now we're gonna try to find a product. So the first thing that I would do if I'm gonna find a product is I would go straight to Amazon's bestsellers list. So I would type in Amazon bestseller, go straight to it, click on it, and then, okay, here we go. Here's their best sellers for all the departments. And this is what we want to look at right here. All of these different categories. And let's see. Yuri asked, can you cover how the packaging and labeling works? How did you create the logo? Who applies it? Um, yes, I'll touch on this really quick before we actually get into the process of finding a product. The packaging, labeling, my supplier does all that. So they were able to customize the packaging for me to apply my logo and my brand name. I created the logo. I went to Elance, hired a graphic designer. She created about 30 different logos for me. I picked out the one I liked best and I paid her, and that's how I got my logo. It was pretty easy. And I sent my logo over in a PDF format to my supplier, and they applied it to all of my products. So that's how I did that. And I can go, and I actually probably will write a post about that because I think a lot of people are wondering about the packaging and labeling and the logo and stuff like that. So I might do a post on that because I think a lot of people are interested in something like that. Okay, so let me take a drink before we get started. Okay, so first of all, someone asked a question earlier. They said, is there any categories that you want to stay away from on Amazon? And yes, there is. So I'm going to go through each one of these categories and tell you if it's a good category or not. So appliances. Could be not, more likely not, because there's a lot of big brands such as like LG, Whirlpool, and stuff like that selling dishwashers, refrigerators, microwaves, ovens, stuff like that. We're not going to be selling that anyway, so I'd probably stay away from that. App Store for Android, stay away from that. Arts, craft, sewing, that could be good. Automotive, that could be good. More likely, I mean, it's kind of 50-50. Baby, that's very good. Beauty, very good. Books, want to stay away from books. We're not selling books here. Camera and photo could be good. There's going to be some tough competition, but it could be. Cell phone accessories, another one that's tough competition, but it could be if you find the right accessory to sell. Obviously, we're not selling cell phones, but if you have a cell phone accessory, it could work, but more than likely, it's probably the market's going to be saturated and pretty tough. Clothing, want to stay away from clothing. Stay away from collectible coins, computers, and accessories. Same thing as cell phones accessories. If you can find a cool accessory for the computer, such as like a keyboard cover or a mouse pad or something like that, go for it. That's a good idea. But obviously, we're not going to be selling computers out here. I mean, that's not something that we can outsource to China for. But electronics could be. This is kind of questionable, but you might be able to find something decent in there. Stay away from gift cards. Stay away from food. Health and personal care is good. Home and kitchen is good. Home improvement is good. Industrial scientific is decent. Jewelry could be good. Stay away from Kindle store. Kitchen and dining's good. MP3's bad. Magazine's bad. Movies and TV's bad. Music is bad. Musical instruments is more than likely bad. There could be something like a trumpet accessory or something might be decent, but there's probably not too much demand for that. Office products could be good, or actually is good. That's office products could be good. Patio, lawn, and garden is a good category. Pet supplies is a good category. Prime pantry, I don't even know what that is. That's not. I'm assuming that's like food. So stay away from that. Shoes, stay away from. Software, stay away from. Sports and outdoors is good. The only thing with sports and outdoors is sports and a lot of things outdoors are seasonal. And I'm not saying you can't sell stuff that's seasonal, but if you want to sell consistently year round, which I do, I would stay away from certain sports and certain outdoor products. Toys and games, it's questionable. Video games, stay away from, and watches, I would stay away from as well. So, any questions? Jay Ling asked, "What category is my product in?" My product, my product is in the pet supplies category, and I'm not going to give you guys too much more information about that because I'm actually not too worried about the people on this webinar because I'm assuming you guys won't try to steal my idea and stuff like that. But there are people that have emailed me before and said, "I'm trying to figure out your product and I'm going to sabotage you and blah blah blah." So that's kind of why I've made sure to not list my product and not tell you guys what any real information about my product because I don't want people sabotaging my product just because of who I am or because I'm doing it for my website. So, but I will tell you my product is in the pet supplies category. So what I'm going to do is just go into a random category and start looking. So let's look in the home and let's see home. Actually, we'll look at arts and crafts and sewing just because it's just a random category. Okay, and then so once we click on the main top level category, what we want to do is see all these subcategories right here. What we want to do is click on one more category, click one, go, so let me explain this a little better. So you want to go one more category deep. So we want to click on one of these and go into one more category deep and then start looking. Yuri asked, "Did you get your product idea from the web scrape that guy published on Facebook?" No, I don't know what the web scrape you're even talking about on Facebook. Was it in our Facebook group? If it was, I must have missed that or something. But no, I did not get my product from that. Dave says, "I figured out your product, not brand or anything, but I'm pretty sure I know what it is. But no worries, I have no plans to sabotage you." Thanks, Dave. I hope you don't sabotage me. And don't tell anyone else what my product is. But Yuri asked, "No, a related one, AMZ Quest, I think." No, Yuri, I'm not in that Facebook group, and no, I did not get it from that. Jalen asked, "What's your Facebook group's URL?" I'll get you that right now. I'll post it in here. I think you guys can. I'll send it to. So I posted the Facebook URL into as an answer to Jayling if you guys want to go check that out. Okay, so let's get back into this. Okay, so we click on the main category. What we're going to do now is go into a subcategory. So let's look at knitting and crochet. Actually, this kind of looks like a crappy category. You know what, I'm just going to go back to something that's probably more than likely going to have a better chance. Let's see. Let's go into baby. This could be good. Okay, yeah, this has a lot of stuff. And you know, moms and dads that have a newborn baby, they're more likely going to be willing to spend any money they want, any money they can to get their baby anything they want. So if they want it, if they think a new toy will make them happy, they'll buy it. So that's a baby and pet niche is a great niche to be in because people love their babies, obviously, and people love their pets, obviously. So they're willing to spend money on those things. So that's why it's kind of a good niche to go into. So let's look in let's go another category deep. Let's go into feeding. And then see how if you click on a category, it gives you some more categories right here. So let's look at pillows and stools. Okay, so right here, perfect. And right off the bat, we say, okay, is this enough? Is this category too niche specific? Did we niche down too much? And what we can do is open up Jungle Scout, click on it, click this, it opens up, it'll check out all of these listings right here, and it'll bring it up. So right away it shows you the rank. So yeah, these are selling a lot. This has a lot of high rankings. A lot of estimated sales, over 1,000 for the top 3. So yeah, these are selling a lot. But right off the bat, I can tell. Look at the brand. This is dominated by one brand, Boop Boppy 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 Boppy. So probably want to stay away from this. But Jungle Scout showed us that really quickly, and that was actually pretty efficient. So we want to probably stay away from that. But what I do is I just go into a category and just scroll through each one. So let's see. Like, what are these? Soft bib, green and yellow. That could be something interesting. Go to the next page. You know what? I think I picked another crappy category. You know what? Let's go. And you guys, when I first started this, I went through every single category, every single little niche, every single little subcategory until I found my product. So it takes a lot of research, and it takes time, like I said, and I more than likely won't find a very good product live on air with you guys in the next 10 minutes because I don't want to spend 2 hours right here trying to find a product. But I will kind of show you the general way I go. So this is the best sellers in home improvement. Headlamp. A lot of this stuff is something that won't be able to get made in China. Let's see. So we're trying to find products that are very simple, no electronics to it. Something that the suppliers in China can make pretty easily. Okay, so let's look in here. Let's see. Okay, so right here, this is a good idea actually. A barbecue grill cover. This could be something that you could think about selling. So I'm not gonna keep looking for more products just because I don't want to waste you guys' time any longer. I kind of want to go into the next sections and next parts of after you find a good product that you think might work. I want to show you guys the next steps that you should take. So let's say, okay, this barbecue grill looks interesting. It's selling for 22 bucks. It's in our price range. Obviously, I bet you Alibaba will be able to make barbecue grill covers. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to Amazon, the main thing, and we're gonna look up barbecue covers. And I think we were in the patio, lawn, and garden. So we'll go to that again. And then what we'll do from here, and what we're going to do right now is try to determine the demand for this product. So right off the bat, what I like to do is just flip on Jungle Scout so I can quickly look at the bestseller rankings and the number of sales each month. While that's loading, I can answer some more questions. Let's see. Doesn't matter if it's dominated by one brand, just need new keywords, no. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's dominated by one brand, but the thing is that if they're dominating the whole first page like that, I just more likely will just stay away from it, just because they obviously have dominated that little niche, and I kind of will probably just don't even want to mess with them and going with it. I just want to. I mean, why mess with something that's going to be hard to get on the first page just because one brand? I'd rather go where it's a little bit easier. Sean asked, wait, why do you go off the baby products? No real reason. The only reason I got baby products is just because I'm trying to find a decent product quickly, and I'm just looking through the categories really quick because I just don't want to waste you guys' time. It's not a bad category. Can you explain why that was a bad category? Was it just because it was dominated by Boppy? Yes, I mean, it's not a bad category, and the baby isn't a bad category either. But it was just a bad category for me trying to find a product quickly. I mean, if you sold in the baby category, there's nothing wrong with that at all. And I'm sure there's a lot of products to sell in the baby category, but I just want to try to find a product quickly so I can show you guys the rest of the process. Got a question that says, baby products were too cheap, right? Yes, if they're too cheap, that's right. And this BBQ cover has items with literally thousands of reviews. Would you really pursue this? Would you? And well, let's look right now. So just because the first option has thousands of reviews doesn't mean that we can't still go after it. Like I said, if there's 2 or 3 similar products that have under 50 reviews, we can go after it. So let's look at this. Number of reviews, and this is on the first page right here. This shows all the first page. So right here, this column shows the number of reviews. We have a couple. We have one with 6 reviews, one with 1 review. This one has 57. This one has 82. So yes, I probably wouldn't continue on with this product just because there is 2 to 3 products with less than 50 reviews on the first page, and there's even one with 1. I mean, if there's one with 1 product review on the first page, that goes to show me that I more than likely can be on the first page with 10 reviews. I'll be able to take this person's spot. But I more than likely wouldn't continue on because not only does the first page have 5,000 reviews, all the other ones have high reviews and are close to 1,000 reviews for the rest of the people as well. But if we want to look at the bestsellers rank, 20, 115, 1,800, 173, 552. There's a ton of people buying barbecue grill covers right now. Probably because it's summertime. It's probably the best time for people to buy them. But you can see that there's definitely demand for this product. The competition is pretty tough, but like I said, it does fit our requirements. Because look, this product right here, 6 reviews. This one has 1 review right here. Let's see. This one has 57. That's not very many reviews. This one has 82. But as you guys can see, look how similar these products are. This one's very similar to this one. It's very similar to this one. All these are very similar to each other, and it's more than likely made by the same supplier in China. So, and this is something where, okay, these are all the same barbecue cover. What can we do to differentiate ourselves from everyone else? We go here to the customer reviews, and let's see what the most helpful review, critical review is. It says, now 2 years old, torn, faded, dry rotted, soon to be replaced. So, I mean, that's probably what you get from ordering a grill cover from China. But if you can make a product with better material than the one that's currently made, that might give you the competitive advantage over the rest of the people. So there's that. Let's see. What else can we do? We can check out. Let's see some questions. Question says, quick question about Jungle Scout. Are those estimated sales and estimated revenue monthly or annually? Those are estimated sales and revenue monthly. So yeah, those are monthly estimations. So let's see. The next thing that we need to do. So I mean, I probably wouldn't pursue this product myself, but just for the sake of this webinar, I want to continue on with the barbecue cover. So we determined demand, right? So there's obviously plenty of demand in this market. There's many products under 5,000 bestseller rankings. There's many products selling over 300 each month. And let's check out what the keywords look like in merchant words. Paste that in there, search again. Okay, so surprisingly, there's not that many monthly searches. I mean, combined with the top 3, we get about 60,000, 62,000 each month. So there's really not that many monthly searches, which is surprising considering I thought there would be much more. It's probably like this because probably in the summer it gets hundreds of thousands of searches, but then in the winter it probably gets only a couple thousand, so it kind of offsets each other. But this right here would probably fail our merchant words thing. So I mean, it's iffy, but I would say according to the bestseller ratings and Jungle Scout, there's enough demand in this market to continue on. So now that we know, all right, let's go back to here, and we can kind of compare the top 5 things. So it can be sold between $20 and $50. Boom, it's sold between $20 and $50. Definitely, that's in the price range. Small and lightweight. Let's check out the weight. That's one thing we haven't looked at. So I'm assuming all this can be folded down into a pretty small area and be shipped quickly. Let's look at the weight of it. 4.4 pounds. Wow, that's much heavier than that. Shipping weight is over 5 pounds. Wow. So that's actually really heavy. And I would probably actually stay. Maybe it's because it's huge. Medium. Actually, no. That's interesting. Let's look at another one. See if it's just as big. Let's see. This one's 3 pounds, 4 pounds shipping weight. Wow, these are actually heavier than I thought. I guess these are a little bit heavier duty. So just from that, those are probably pretty expensive to ship because even though they're small, they're going to be heavy. It could be questionable. So it fits the small aspect because I'm assuming those those barbecue covers can be folded up into small, but they're pretty heavy. They're over 4 pounds for a lot of them. So I probably wouldn't continue on with it just because of it's a little bit too heavy that I like. But just for time's sake, we'll continue on checking it against these 5 things. Is there proven demand for the product? Yes, there's proven demand for the product. We saw that there's tons of barbecue covers under 5,000 bestseller rating, and Jungle Scout says they're selling a lot of items are selling close to 1,000 each month. So that's plenty of demand for us. Beatable competition. Yes, I would say there's tough competition, but there's also beatable competition because there's a couple items on here with less than 50 reviews. And let's take a look at some of these. Where's the one? Let's look at this one with 1 review. So it's filled out, description, has some images, so I mean, this actually is pretty tough competition as well. I mean, a lot of these look like let's see, I mean, and this product is by Charbroil, which is a pretty big brand name. Charbroil right here too. Charbroil, Weber, Weber. So yeah, actually guys, it's actually a terrible product if you actually think about it because there's a lot of things that are against what we like. So right off the bat, okay, I thought barbecue covers that'd be pretty good, but after doing some further research, we found out okay, this isn't a very good product when we did our further research because that's what this whole process is about. It's about thinking you find okay, this could be good, a barbecue cover could be good, but with some further research you find that this competition is probably a little bit too tough. It's heavier than I expected. Um, there's bigger brand names than I expected as well. There's a lot of reviews. Like competition could be tough, and it's not even worth it trying to figure out. It's not even worth it to figure out the margins on this one just because there's too many other bad things about it. So that's where I would skip it. I would go back to the shop by department. Go back into actually here I'd go back to Amazon's bestseller list, and I would get back to searching for different products right here. I go back into home improvement, continue on searching for different products. So that's what I would do, guys. I just keep going through. Just when you think you find a product, just compare it to what I have right here. Can it be sold between $20 and $50? Yes. Okay, that's good. Is it small and lightweight? Yes. Okay, that's good. Proven demand? Good. Beatable competition? No. Okay, so we go on to the next product. So that's just kind of the process that you guys have to use and the process that you need to do when you're looking through Amazon's bestseller list. So, like I said, you can dig down from into these categories right here. You keep digging down deeper and deeper. You don't want to go too deep into specific categories because then there won't be enough demand for it. But you might be able to come up with some ideas by doing that. So just look through as many of these as you can, come up with some ideas, test them out, check them off against the requirements, and see if you have a winner or not. Keep doing that, and you more than likely will be able to find a good product to sell on Amazon. So that kind of wraps up this webinar, guys. I know I wasn't able to find a very good product for you guys, but like I said, it takes time to find a good product. It takes a couple hours at least to be able to put in the research to find a product and all that stuff. But basically, all you have to do is just, when you think you have a product, do some further research, compare it against the requirements, and if it passes all the requirements, continue on with it and start selling on Amazon. So that does it for this webinar. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you all for attending. I appreciate you guys so much for coming in and watching this webinar. This is my very first webinar. Hopefully it wasn't too bad. I was pretty nervous doing it, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll have it recorded and ready for you guys to watch it again, or for the people that missed it to watch it tomorrow on YouTube. I'll also save this PowerPoint and have it available to anyone who wants it as well. So I really appreciate all you guys coming in and watching this webinar and watching me do this. Hopefully it was helpful for you guys, and hope you guys got some use out of it. I actually enjoyed doing this webinar, and I think that on other topics down the road, I would love to hold more webinars. I might be able to get some guests on here to help us even more with their expertise. But I think overall it was a success, and I think that I was able to help as many people as I could. And to end it off here, guys, I'll answer any questions that you guys have. So to end it off here, for the next 10 minutes or more if you need it, I'll answer any question you guys have. And so send in your questions, and once I answer you guys' questions, we'll end this webinar. So thanks for you guys attending, and I'll wait for some questions to come in if you guys have any. Thanks, Tim. I appreciate that. Yes, I'll send out the YouTube link out as soon as I get the recording from GoToWebinar and I am able to upload it to YouTube. It's probably going to take a while because it's going to be a huge file, but I'll definitely have that up on YouTube. So I'll wait for some more questions to come in, guys. I'll wait another couple more minutes, and then we'll end this webinar off. So I really appreciate you guys coming in, and guys, I can't thank you guys enough. It's been awesome. Thank you guys for coming. I really hope you guys got some use out of this. I hope you guys found this useful. So thank you, and I just can't stress that enough. So I'll wait here a couple more minutes while you guys send in any more questions, any last minute questions you guys have about anything that we've covered, anything that I've covered so far. And if not, we'll end this webinar. So I'll give you guys 2 minutes until 6:30, and then we'll end this webinar off. So send in any last questions, and I'll answer any of them that you guys have. Also, I'll put the link for the discounted Jungle Scout in the chat for you guys if you guys want it. If you guys want to check it out. Here is the link to get Jungle Scout for $15 off if you guys are interested in it. So another question comes in: what are some decent estimates for shipping from China for a shoebox of 3-pound product? So I'm assuming you're asking what is the shipping cost, and you know what, I really don't know. I'm assuming I don't know, 3 pounds. That's pretty light in a shoebox. I would probably say, well, I mean, kind of depends how many units you have, but if you're shipping 500, if you're shipping 1,000 units, it'll probably cost you probably $1,000 to $1,500 to ship it from China to Amazon, I'd say. So that's just a rough estimate. I mean, I'm not 100% positive about that, but that would probably be my estimate on that one. Okay, guys, so there's no more questions coming in. I'm going to end off this webinar. I just want to say thank you guys one more time. You guys are awesome. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for watching it. Thanks for supporting me. And I'll be having some new updates on my website coming soon, so be on the lookout for that. Oh, there's one more question. Let's see. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks, guys. See you guys all later. Thanks for attending, and I'll talk to you guys all soon. So have a good one, you guys.